In April of 1999, I got married to Rachel, and she and I had first met when we were 12 or 13 years old at summer camp. And we had corresponded back and forth here and there. And then whenever I was in my 20s, I reached out. We dated, and then we started living together. And she was told for a few years that she really couldn't have kids, that it would be difficult for her. But as soon as we got married, she got pregnant, and Graham was born. My oldest son was born in February of the year 2000, and Logan was born in 2003, January 2003. But I was completely living in the world. Like I said, when we got married, I was working for the catering company, so I was just lost.
Did you guys get along? What was the fundamental of the relationship? If it didn't work out, why didn't it work out? How did it go? Was it uphill, downhill, uphill? Or what was it looking like?
After 2 years of marriage, so we lived together for 2 years, but then after 2 years of marriage, even before Logan arrived, our marriage, you can tell neither one of us were very happy. But we had also, neither one of us really wanted to divorce. And for me, divorce wasn't an option. Like, that was one of those line in the sand things I won't cross. If I got married, I'm married. And it didn't matter if I was miserable. My parents are still married to this day. This year will be like 54 years of marriage for them. And it was just something that I wasn't going to do. If I had to be miserable and try and make things work, then that's what I would do, especially because we had a child at the time, and I knew that. And but I remember speaking it out to someone that after 2 years of marriage, if I wouldn't have had children already, I probably would have divorced. But it was because we had children together, and I wasn't going to do that to my son. And then Logan came along, and so thought things would get better, and they just were amplified. Children don't solve marital problems. You have to pour into children, and so you need a strong marriage to pour into your kids. Having a child is not going to bring you together. It's just adding another thing into the mix. But that was our fault for not knowing how to communicate, and I think there were just things that we both did that were selfish young people things. Like, we were too selfish in our own wills to be able to be the spouse to the other person that we needed to be. And anybody, I'm not trying to condemn anyone out there, but there's two people in a marriage. So to say it was all their fault is very arrogant, because there were two of you in the relationship. So if it didn't work, it's because the two of you didn't work, not one. So in March of 2007, I should say first, we were living in my best friend's house, raising the boys, because he was working a job where he was out of town for 3.5 weeks out of a month. And so we were living there, not paying rent, and all we had to pay were the utilities. So we paid all the bills, and he owned the house. And he stayed in the basement apartment for, the 1 week where he was in each month. And then he was getting married in 2005, so I had to buy a house. And 2005 was the first time that I had logged on my computer, and I saw that there was searches for divorce attorneys. And I never brought it up, but I saw that from 2005 she was seeking divorce attorneys, and expert help. And so we bought a house, and we moved to Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. And the new house didn't make anything better. It just suited the purpose, and we started making the home, or just someone that you share a house and kids with. And her response was, honestly, the latter. Honestly. And, you know, the way people say things indicates how they feel. And the second honestly was the salt in the wound there. But it was at that point that I knew that there was no stopping. She had already gotten the apartment, so I helped her get it furnished so the boys would have the least amount of problems of transitioning, and signed papers so that they wouldn't have to go through all the things that happen with divorce and custody. So if we could agree on all that stuff, it would keep them from having to go through all the court hearings. And that's what we did. She signed the papers, she left. But quite literally, 3 days, so I had been married for almost 7 years, and right about the time that we had gotten married and moved to Boston and moved back, the job that I got when we moved back, I was still in when she left. And